I used to think I knew my wife better than anyone in the world. 6 years of marriage, 8 years together total, you'd think that's enough time to truly know someone. I was wrong. My name is Alex Cooper. I'm 30 years old, a financial analyst at McKinsey & Associates, one of those reliable guys who plans retirement accounts at 25 and reads market reports over morning coffee. I'm the type who color codes spreadsheets and actually enjoys tax season. Stable, predictable, safe. I met Nicole during our sophomore year at State University. She was everything I wasn't, spontaneous, ambitious, the kind of person who talked about conquering the corporate world, while other students were just trying to pass Economics 101. She was studying marketing and business, already networking with professors, and plotting her rise to executive status. That hunger attracted me. While other girls talked about finding themselves, Nicole talked about building empires. We got married when I was 24 and she was 23. I'd been saving aggressively since my first job, living in a studio apartment and driving a used Honda, squirreling away every penny for our future. The townhouse came first, a modest 3-bedroom in Maple Heights, nothing fancy but mine. My down payment, my credit score, my name on the deed. Nicole contributed to utilities and groceries, but the house was always mine. At the time, it felt romantic, traditional, the man providing stability for his wife. I never thought ownership would matter. Now it matters more than anything. Nicole works as a marketing manager at TechVision Solutions, a mid-sized tech company downtown with glass offices and motivational posters about synergy and disruption. She's ambitious, always chasing the next promotion, the next big account, the next career milestone that'll prove she's more than just another pretty face in a conference room. I used to admire that drive. It matched my own obsession with financial security, with building something lasting. But over the past 6 months, something shifted in our marriage like tectonic plates moving beneath the surface. The overtime started gradually. An extra hour here, a late meeting there, until suddenly Nicole was leaving at 7 in the morning and returning at 10 at night, exhausted and distant. She'd drag herself through the front door, kick off her heels, and collapse on the couch without even looking at me. "Rough day?" I'd ask. "The worst," she'd mutter, already scrolling through her phone. "Wilson account is killing me. This promotion is going to destroy my sanity. The work trips multiplied like cancer cells. Dallas for 3 days, Atlanta for a weekend, San Francisco for a week. Always last minute, always critical, always about some client who needed her expertise immediately. She'd pack in a rush, kissing me goodbye with distracted lips while texting someone during the Uber ride to the airport. But it was the small things that made my chest tighten with suspicion. Nicole started smelling different when she came home, not her usual vanilla perfume, but something masculine and woody that clung to her clothes like evidence. Her phone became a forbidden territory, always face down on the dinner table, protected by a new passcode I didn't know. The woman who used to share every meaningless text conversation now guarded her device like classified information. One night I woke at 2 in the morning to find our bed empty. I discovered her in the bathroom, door closed, whispering into her phone in the tone she used to reserve for me. Intimate, affectionate, conspiratorial. Who was that? I asked when she slipped back under the covers. "Work stuff," she replied without hesitation. "Crisis with the Wilson presentation. Sorry if I woke you," but her voice carried guilt like perfume, obvious and cloying. The doubt started small, a nagging whisper during board meetings and quarterly reviews. But it grew like a tumor, consuming my thoughts during dinner conversations, during the nights when she'd roll away from me in bed, during the mornings when she'd shower immediately after coming home from her business trips. I wanted to believe her explanations. I wanted to trust that her dedication was really about our future, about building the life we'd planned together. Kids by 35, a bigger house by 40, retirement in some coastal town where we'd grow old together. But my analyst brain kept running the numbers, and they didn't add up. The Wilson account was worth maybe $50,000 in commission. Nicole was acting like it was worth millions. Her company didn't typically require this much travel for local clients. And since when did marketing presentations happen at midnight? Deep down in that place where spreadsheets can't hide the truth, I knew something was catastrophically wrong when she told me about the Chicago trip 5 days. The Wilson account, her big career breakthrough, I smiled and congratulated her, playing the supportive husband while my insides turned to ice. This could make me the youngest senior marketing director in TechVision's history, she said, packing that new black dress I'd never seen before. Derek says if I nail this presentation, the promotion is basically guaranteed. Derek. She'd mentioned that name more frequently lately. Derek this, Derek that, Derek's brilliant marketing strategy. Derek Walsh, VP of Sales, the golden boy who'd supposedly taken Nicole under his wing. I helped her pack, watching her include expensive lingerie still tagged from the store, perfume she'd never worn around me, outfits designed to impress someone who wasn't her husband. "You're bringing a lot for a work trip," I commented casually. She laughed without looking at me. "First impressions matter in business, Alex. You know that." "Right. Business," I replied flatly. That night, while Nicole slept peacefully beside me, probably dreaming about Derek Walsh, I made a decision that would change both our lives forever. I opened my laptop, typed "private investigator near me" into Google, and made the call that would either destroy my marriage or confirm it was already dead. The weight of my decision pressed down on me like concrete as I sat in my car outside Joe's Coffee the next morning, phone in my trembling hand. Part of me felt like those paranoid husbands you see in movies, jealous, controlling, pathetic. But the analyst in me, the part that reviewed financial statements for inconsistencies, knew the data didn't lie. Nicole's patterns had changed. Her behavior didn't match her explanations. The numbers, late nights, sudden trips, emotional distance, painted a picture I didn't want to see but couldn't ignore. Raymond Cross Investigations had 5 stars on Google and a website that screamed discretion and professionalism. The testimonials read like war stories from the trenches of modern marriage. Raymond saved my sanity and my assets. Professional, thorough, and worth every penny. The truth set me free. When Raymond answered on the second ring, his voice was calm and measured like a therapist or a very good accountant. "This is Raymond Cross. How can I help you?" he asked. "I think my wife is cheating on me," I said, the words feeling foreign and bitter in my mouth. "I need to know for sure. No judgment. No platitudes. Just business, I understand. Can you tell me what's led you to this suspicion?" he inquired. I recited the evidence like a case study. The overtime that didn't match her paycheck. The business trips that seemed more frequent than necessary. The emotional distance, the new passwords, the 2 a.m. phone calls. Raymond listened without interrupting, occasionally making notes I could hear scratching across paper. "How long have these changes been occurring?" he asked. 6 months, maybe more," I answered. "And she has a trip planned?" "Chicago, 5 days. Leaves tomorrow morning," I replied. "Perfect timing for surveillance. Chicago's expensive for extended monitoring, but it's where we'll get the clearest picture of her activities. If there's another party involved, a 5-day trip will reveal it," he explained. The cost was $3,500. I'd spent more on our honeymoon, more on Nicole's engagement ring, more on the couch she'd picked out for the living room. For the price of truth, it felt like a bargain. "I need to know," I told him. "Even if it destroys me, I need to know." Raymond's response was measured, professional, and somehow comforting. "Most of my clients say that, Mr. Cooper, and you're right. The truth does destroy things, but it also sets you free to rebuild something better." We spent the next 20 minutes arranging logistics. I would provide Nicole's flight details, hotel information, and itinerary, all information she'd shared freely, believing she had nothing to hide. Raymond would have an operative stationed at O'Hare Airport when she landed, following her throughout the trip with professional invisibility. "Full photographic and video documentation," Raymond explained. "Time-stamped, date-stamped with detailed written reports. If she's engaging in extramarital activity, we'll document it thoroughly. If she's genuinely focused on business, you'll have peace of mind and can work on rebuilding trust." After I hung up, I sat in my car for 10 minutes, hands gripping the steering wheel. Breathing slowly like I'd learned in that meditation app Nicole had convinced me to try. The die was cast. In 24 hours, I'd either be proven wrong, paranoid, insecure, destroying my marriage with unfounded suspicion. Or I'd have evidence that the woman I'd loved for 8 years had been systematically betraying me. The next 3 days passed like psychological torture. I went through the motions of normal life, work meetings, conference calls, reviewing portfolios, making dinner reservations for the following week that I probably wouldn't keep. But underneath the routine, I carried the secret of what I'd set in motion like a bomb in my chest, ticking down to detonation. Nicole seemed unusually excited about the Chicago trip, more animated than she'd been in months. She talked constantly about the Wilson account, about how landing it would fast-track her promotion, about the presentation she'd been perfecting for weeks. "Derek thinks this could be a game-changer for my career," she said over dinner Tuesday night, twirling pasta around her fork without really eating. "He's been mentoring me through the whole process." "I'm so lucky to have someone like him in my corner." Derek again. "Always Derek. He sounds like a good mentor," I managed to reply. "The best. He really gets the vision for where Tech Vision is headed. Plus, he's got connections throughout the industry. Having someone like that believe in you." She trailed off, smiling at something I wasn't part of. I watched her pack Wednesday evening, each item she folded into her suitcase feeling like another knife in my chest. The black dress that hugged her curves in ways designed to attract attention. The expensive lingerie still tagged from Victoria's Secret lace and silk in colors she'd never worn for me. The perfume I'd never smelled on her skin during our intimate moments. "You're bringing a lot for a work trip," I commented, keeping my voice casual. She didn't even look up from her packing. "Presentations on Friday, but there are dinners, networking events, morning meetings. I want to look professional, put together. You know how important first impressions are?" "Absolutely." "Professional," I responded. Her phone buzzed constantly throughout the evening, texts that made her smile, calls she took in the other room, notifications that pulled her attention away from our conversation mid-sentence. Each buzz felt like evidence, like confirmation of what I suspected but didn't want to believe. Thursday morning arrived gray and cold, matching my mood perfectly. I drove Nicole to the airport at 6 a.m., the sunrise casting orange light across her face as she checked her phone obsessively during the drive. She seemed nervous, excited, distracted, like someone heading towards something she'd been anticipating for weeks. At the terminal drop-off, she kissed me goodbye with lips that felt like obligation rather than affection. "I love you," she said, already pulling away, already reaching for her phone. "Love you too," I replied, watching her disappear through the sliding glass doors with her rolling suitcase and secrets. I sat in my car for 10 minutes after she left, hands gripping the steering wheel, watching planes take off through the morning haze. Then I called Raymond. "She's in the terminal. Flight 847 to O'Hare, departing at 7:30, I reported. "We're already in position," Raymond confirmed. "My operative has visual contact. I'll send regular updates as events develop." I drove home through rush hour traffic, NPR playing something about market volatility that felt impossibly irrelevant. Back at the house, my house, I made coffee, opened my laptop, and tried to focus on quarterly reports while my marriage either validated my paranoia or confirmed my worst fears 400 miles away. My phone buzzed at 9:47 a.m. with Raymond's first update. Subject landed in Chicago, proceeding to baggage claim. Surveillance active. The investigation had begun, and there was no turning back. I spent that entire Thursday at my desk, unable to focus on spreadsheets or market analyses, my phone positioned face up like a talisman, waiting for updates that would either destroy my world or restore it. The first few messages from Raymond were routine, almost boring in their mundane detail. 10:23 a.m. Subject collected baggage, proceeded to hotel shuttle. No contact with other parties observed. a.m. Subject checked into Marriott downtown, room 1847. Proceeded directly to room with luggage. 15 p.m. Subject departed hotel, walking to Tech Vision Chicago offices 3 blocks away. Standard business attire, carrying presentation materials. For a few hours, I allowed myself to hope. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe Nicole really was in Chicago for legitimate business. networking and presenting and climbing corporate ladders with nothing more scandalous than ambitious professionalism. Then came the message that changed everything. 4 p.m. Subject returned to hotel with male companion. Proceeding to bar area. Sending photos now. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. The message sat there, innocuous text on a bright screen, with an attachment icon that felt like Pandora's box. I knew that once I opened those photos, there would be no returning to ignorance, no comfortable delusion that maybe I was wrong. I clicked the attachment. The first image showed Nicole at the hotel bar, sitting closer than necessary to a man I didn't recognize, tall, probably mid-40s, expensive suit, confident posture of someone accustomed to getting what he wanted. Nicole's body language screamed intimacy, leaning in, hand resting on his forearm. Wearing that smile she used to give me when we were dating, when I could make her laugh until her cheeks hurt. The second photo was closer, clearer, more devastating. Their hands intertwined on the bar top, her head tilted toward his shoulder. Their faces inches apart in the unmistakable geometry of people who'd moved far beyond professional colleague territory. Raymond's follow-up text made my chest physically ache. Subject and male companion identified as Derek Walsh, VP of Sales at TechVision Solutions. Body language suggests established relationship, not first meeting. Continuing surveillance, Derek Walsh. Her mentor, her champion, her married superior with 2 kids and a wife who probably trusted him the way I'd trusted Nicole. I ran a quick LinkedIn search with trembling fingers. Derek Walsh, VP of Sales, TechVision Solutions. Married 15 years, father to Emma, 9, and Jake, 6. His profile picture showed him with his arm around a blonde woman, presumably his wife, both of them smiling, at some company picnic or family vacation. Another, betrayed spouse who didn't know yet that their world was crumbling. Over the next 2 hours, Raymond's updates arrived like blows to the solar plexus. 23 p.m. Subjects departed bar area together, heading toward elevators. Following at distance. 31 p.m. Subjects entered room 1847 together. Subjects registered room. Attempting closer surveillance. 45 p.m. Obtained visual through partially open curtains. Documenting activity. I paced my living room like a caged animal, unable to sit, unable to think about anything except what was happening in that hotel room 400 miles away. My wife, the woman who'd promised forever, who wore my ring, who'd slept in my bed 24 hours ago, was in a room with another man. At 8:15 p.m., my phone buzzed with a photo that made my blood turn to ice water. Through the hotel room window, curtains carelessly left partially open, Nicole and Derek were clearly visible, kissing. His hands in her hair, her dress partially unzipped, his shirt unbuttoned. The image was professionally shot but devastating in its clarity, undeniable evidence that would hold up in any court, destroy any alibi, end any marriage. More photos followed over the next 20 minutes, each one a fresh knife twist. Nicole's dress on the floor, Derek's clothes scattered across a chair. The two of them in bed, her laughing at something he'd said, her hand on his bare chest, the casual intimacy of people who'd done this before, who were comfortable with each other's bodies, who had routines and inside jokes and shared secrets. The final message from Raymond at 8:47 p.m. was a professional summary that read like a coroner's report on my marriage. Obtained 5 minutes of video footage showing clear sexual activity. Also confirmed identity. Derek Walsh, married, 2 children ages 6 and 9. Based on comfort level and body language, this appears to be an ongoing affair, not first encounter. Conservative estimate, relationship has been active for 3-4 months minimum. Full detailed report will include timestamps, video files, and witness statement. Recommend consulting legal counsel immediately. I sat on my couch in the dark house that was mine, phone in my lap, feeling something inside me break and then reshape into something harder, colder, more dangerous. The hurt was there, a raw, gaping wound in my chest that felt like actual physical damage. But beneath the pain rose something else. Clarity. Cold, analytical, ruthless clarity. Nicole had made her choice. She'd chosen Derek Walsh, chosen to betray 6 years of marriage, chosen to destroy the life we'd built together while claiming it was all for us, all for her career, all for our future. Now I would make my choices. I opened my laptop and began researching divorce attorneys, specifically ones with reputations for aggressive representation in infidelity cases. I found Patricia Vance, a lawyer whose website testimonials read like dispatches from scorched earth divorce battles. Her bio was intimidating. "I don't just win cases, I ensure justice. Adultery has consequences, and I make sure those consequences are permanent." At 10:32 p.m., I sent an inquiry email to Patricia's firm, attaching Raymond's preliminary report with its devastating photos and clinical documentation. I slept in the guest room that night. The bed I'd shared with Nicole suddenly felt contaminated, a place of lies and deception I could no longer occupy. The sheets still smelled like her perfume, the vanilla one she wore at home, not the mysterious scent she'd been bringing back from her business trips. By Friday morning, Patricia Vance had responded with the efficiency of a woman who'd seen every betrayal imaginable. "I've reviewed your evidence. This is an exceptionally strong case for infidelity with photographic documentation. I can see you Monday at 9 a.m. Bring everything: financial records, property documents, marriage certificate, evidence files. We're going to destroy her." Nicole called me Friday morning from Chicago, her voice bright and cheerful, asking about my weekend plans like she was calling from a spa vacation instead of the scene of my personal apocalypse. "How's the presentation prep going?" I asked, my voice surprisingly steady. "Incredible! Derek's been so helpful. We worked late into the night perfecting the strategy. I think we've really got something special here," she replied enthusiastically. I could hear Derek's voice in the background, muffled but distinct, probably ordering room service or asking about her plans for the day. She was lying in bed with him while talking to me, discussing their work while his scent was probably still on her skin. "That's wonderful, honey. I miss you," I responded. "Miss you too." "Can't wait to come home and tell you all about it," she answered cheerfully. "I can't wait either." "I love you, Nicole." "Love you too, Alex," she replied. And I meant it as goodbye, because the woman I'd loved for 8 years was already gone, replaced by someone who could lie with such casual cruelty while planning her career advancement in another man's bed. Monday morning couldn't come fast enough. Monday morning, I sat across from Patricia Vance in her downtown office, 30 floors up, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, steel and glass that reflected the cold efficiency I'd need for what came next. Patricia was 50-something, sharply dressed in a way that communicated competence and ruthlessness, with calculating eyes that had seen every betrayal imaginable and learned how to weaponize them in court. She reviewed Raymond's complete report methodically. 47 photographs, 12 minutes of video footage, detailed timestamps, witness statements, Derek Walsh's full identity and marital status. Her expression never changed as she examined each piece of evidence, but I caught approval in the way she handled the documents, carefully, professionally, like ammunition being loaded into precisely calibrated weapons. "This is among the cleanest infidelity cases I've seen in 15 years, Patricia said, setting down the final page. "You have photographic evidence, video documentation, professional surveillance records, and the affair occurred during a company-sponsored business trip with a direct superior. That last detail is crucial. It's not just adultery, it's a workplace ethics violation with potential legal ramifications." "What does that mean for me?" I asked. "It means you keep everything. The house, which is solely in your name, remains yours. Your savings, investments, retirement accounts, all protected under state infidelity statutes. She gets nothing except what the judge deems a minimal settlement to avoid claims of punitive damages. We're talking maybe $500 if that," she explained. "And her career?" I inquired. Patricia leaned back, steepling her fingers like a chess master contemplating checkmate. "That's where this gets interesting. TechVision Solutions has a strict code of conduct policy regarding relationships between employees, especially when one party is in a supervisory role. Derek Walsh is a VP, your wife is a manager reporting to his division. That's a clear violation with potential sexual harassment liability for the company. So if someone were to report this," I suggested, "if someone, say, A concerned party with documented evidence were to forward this information to their HR department. Both parties would likely face immediate termination. Companies don't play games when faced with potential lawsuits and ethics violations, she confirmed. I felt cold satisfaction settling in my chest like winter air. How quickly can you file the divorce papers? I can file today. Service can happen as early as Wednesday, the day she returns from Chicago, she answered. Perfect. I want her served at home. At our front door, I stated. Patricia's smile was thin and predatory. Poetic justice. I like your style. We spent the next hour crafting the divorce petition with the precision of surgeons, documenting every asset, every account, every piece of property. My financial analyst background made the process efficient. I had spreadsheets prepared, documentation organized, everything categorized and ready for legal consumption. Before leaving Patricia's office, I made one final decision that felt like lighting a fuse. Send copies of the investigator's report to TechVision's HR department. Anonymous tip about workplace ethics violations. Consider it done. They'll receive it this afternoon, she confirmed. My next stop was Cole Bennett's locksmith shop. Cole had been my friend since college, the guy who'd helped me move furniture into the townhouse, who'd stood up at our wedding, who'd always said Nicole was lucky to have found someone like me. I need you to change all my locks, I told him without preamble. Tuesday night, while Nicole's still out of town, Cole's expression darkened with understanding. She cheated, didn't she? I just nodded, not trusting my voice. Say no more, brother. I'll have new locks installed by Wednesday morning. She won't get in with her old keys, that's for damn sure, he replied. Thanks, Cole. You're going to be okay, Alex. You're one of the good ones. She's going to regret this for the rest of her life, he assured me. Tuesday passed in a blur of deliberate normalcy. I attended meetings, reviewed quarterly reports, analyzed market trends, maintained perfect professional composure while orchestrating the systematic destruction of my wife's life. My colleagues noticed nothing unusual. I'd always been good at compartmentalizing, at keeping personal chaos from affecting professional performance. That evening, Cole arrived with new locks, new keys, new deadbolts, new security for a new life. Within 2 hours, every entrance to my townhouse, because it was my townhouse, legally and morally, was secured against Nicole's return. I methodically packed Nicole's belongings, clothes that had touched Derek Walsh's hands, toiletries that had prepared her for another man's bed, the expensive lingerie she'd bought for someone else's pleasure. Everything fit in 2 large trash bags. I set them by the front door like garbage waiting for collection. Wednesday arrived with crystalline clarity. Nicole's flight was scheduled to land at 6:15 p.m. She'd texted me that morning, "Can't wait to see you. Have so much to tell you about the trip." I read her message and felt nothing but contempt for the performance, the casual cruelty of someone who believed she'd gotten away with destroying her marriage. At 7:30 p.m., I received confirmation from Patricia. Process server is in position at your address. The moment she arrives, she's served. I sat in my living room with the lights off, curtains closed, waiting. My phone was on silent. My heart was calm. Everything was in motion now, precise and irreversible as a chemical reaction. At 7:52 p.m., I heard a car pull up outside. Footsteps on the walkway. The familiar sound of Nicole's key sliding into the lock. The confused jiggling when the key didn't work. The frustrated rattle of the door handle. Then voices. Nicole's confused tone. The process server's professional announcement. Nicole Cooper, you're being served with divorce papers. Please take these documents. I stood, walked to the door, and opened it. Nicole stood on my front step. Divorce papers trembling in her hands, face white with shock, mouth opening and closing without sound like a fish pulled from water. Your stuff is here, I said calmly, nudging the trash bags toward her with my foot. I know about Derek Walsh. I know about Chicago. I have photos, videos, everything. The look on her face, pure terror mixed with disbelief, almost made me feel something. Almost. But then I remembered the photos of her laughing in Derek's arms, her hand on his bare chest, the casual intimacy they'd shared while I sat alone in our house, worrying about our marriage. You're going to get a call from HR tomorrow, I told her. I sent them everything. That's when she started to scream. Nicole collapsed to her knees on the front step like her strings had been cut, divorce papers scattered around her like confetti at a funeral, her voice breaking into incoherent sobs that sounded more like animal sounds than human grief. "Alex, please, I can explain. It was a mistake. I'll quit my job. I'll do anything. Please don't do this," she pleaded between sobs. "You'll do nothing," I said, my voice flat and emotionless as winter stone. "You made your choices in Chicago. Multiple times, apparently, based on how comfortable you look together. Now you live with them." "It didn't mean anything. Derek and I, it just happened. The stress of the account," she tried to explain. "Derek Walsh, VP of Sales, married 15 years, 2 kids, Emma and Jake, ages 9 and 6. You didn't just cheat on me, Nicole. You helped him cheat on his family," I replied coldly. I leaned against the door frame, arms crossed, watching her crumble. "How long has this been going on? 4 months? 6? Nicole's silence was answer enough, confession in the space between her sobs. "The private investigator thinks at least 3 months, based on how comfortable you two look together. All those business trips, Dallas, Atlanta, San Francisco, those weren't about work, were they? Those were about Derek Walsh in hotel rooms across the country," I stated bluntly. "Alex, I love you," she whimpered. "No," the word came out like a slap. "You love what I provided. Stability, a house you didn't pay for, the safety of a backup plan while you screwed your way up the corporate ladder. But here's what you didn't count on. I'm a financial analyst. I plan for contingencies. I document everything. And I don't lose." Nicole's phone buzzed in her purse like an alarm clock. She ignored it. It buzzed again, insistent. "You should answer that," I said conversationally. "I think it's important." With shaking hands, Nicole pulled out her phone. The caller ID read, "TechVision HR Department," her face drained of whatever color remained, leaving her looking corpse pale in the porch light. "They know," I said simply. "I sent them the evidence this morning. Photos, videos, Raymond's full report. You violated company policy. Relationship with a superior. Misconduct during a business trip. Potential sexual harassment liability. They're calling to fire you. And Derek, no, please, this will destroy my career," she gasped. "Your career was built on sleeping with your boss. It was already destroyed." "I just documented it," I replied. Nicole let the call go to voicemail. Immediately, a text appeared on her screen. "Nicole, this is Brenda Lawson from HR. You need to come to the office immediately tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. sharp, conference room B. Do not report to your regular desk. Do not speak to other employees. This is urgent." I watched her read it, watched the last pillar of her carefully constructed life crumble into dust. "My lawyer filed for divorce Monday," I continued with the methodical precision of a surgeon. "You're holding the papers. The evidence is overwhelming, adultery with photographic proof that would hold up in any court. You get nothing in the settlement. The house is mine, my down payment, my name on the deed, my equity. Savings, retirement, investments, all protected under state infidelity statutes. Patricia Vance is representing me, and she doesn't lose cases like this. Where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do?" she asked desperately. "Not my problem anymore," I answered coldly. Nicole tried one last desperate approach, reaching for my hand with fingers that trembled like autumn leaves. "We can go to counseling. We can fix this. I'll do anything. I love you." I stepped back, disgusted by her touch, revolted by the hands that had been all over Derek Walsh 48 hours ago. "Don't touch me. You lost that right when you let Derek Walsh touch you in that hotel room." I picked up her trash bags and tossed them down the front steps. Clothes spilled across the walkway, the black dress she'd worn to seduce him, the lingerie she'd bought for his pleasure, the professional attire of a career that was about to end in humiliation. "If you contest the divorce, I'll make the evidence public," I said, each word deliberate and final. "Every photo, every video, your family, my family, everyone we know, they'll see exactly what kind of person you really are. Your parents, your sister, your college friends. They'll all know their golden girl is nothing but a cheating whore who destroyed her marriage for a promotion." Nicole's sobs had gone silent now. replaced by the hollow stare of someone whose entire world had just imploded in the span of 10 minutes. Or you can sign the papers quietly. Take your minimal settlement and disappear, I continued. Your choice. But either way, we're done. This marriage is over. You killed it in Chicago. I stepped back inside my house, my sanctuary, my investment, my future, and closed the door. The new deadbolt slid into place with a final, decisive click that sounded like a coffin closing. Inside, I leaned against the door, eyes closed, breathing slowly and deeply. I could hear Nicole crying on my doorstep, could hear her making phone calls, probably to Derek, probably begging him to fix this somehow. But there was no fixing this. I'd made sure of that. My phone buzzed with a text from Patricia. Derek Walsh's wife deserves to know too, don't you think? I typed back, send her everything. She has a right to the truth, because tomorrow morning, Derek Walsh would wake up to discover that his wife had received an anonymous email containing every photo, every video, every damning detail of his affair with his subordinate. His 15-year marriage would end. His relationship with his children would be damaged forever. His reputation in the industry would be destroyed. Perfect symmetry. Perfect justice. I heard Nicole's car start 20 minutes later, heard her drive away into the night she'd created for herself. I didn't look out the window. I didn't feel guilty. I felt nothing but the cold satisfaction of a perfectly executed plan. The next morning, I forwarded the evidence to Derek's wife Laura through an untraceable email account. She deserved to know that her husband was a cheating bastard, just like I deserved to know about Nicole. Justice wasn't just about my marriage. It was about all the marriages these people destroyed with their selfish, reckless choices. 8 months after that Wednesday night, I sit in my completely redecorated townhouse, furniture replaced, walls repainted, every trace of Nicole systematically erased, reviewing the final divorce decree that arrived in yesterday's mail, official, legal, irreversible. The judge awarded me the house, my savings, my retirement accounts, everything I'd worked for and protected. Nicole received a settlement of exactly $500, the bare minimum required by state law to avoid claims of punitive damages. She signed without contesting, her lawyer advising her that fighting with the evidence against her would only result in further humiliation and legal fees she couldn't afford. I heard through mutual acquaintances about Nicole's life after that night, and the updates fill me with dark satisfaction. Fired from Tech Vision the morning after being served, escorted from the building by security with a cardboard box of her desk belongings. No severance package, no recommendation letter, no future in marketing management, not with a termination for ethics violations on her permanent record. She moved in with her sister temporarily, sleeping on a pull-out couch and borrowing money for basic expenses, then finally found a studio apartment on the South Side, the kind of place with thin walls, broken air conditioning, and neighbors who play music too loud at all hours. The ambitious marketing director, who was gunning for senior director status, now works part-time at a customer service call center, answering complaint calls for $15 an hour. Her corporate wardrobe hangs unused in a closet barely big enough for her bed. She tried reaching out to me once, 3 months after the divorce finalized. A long, desperate email about regret, about mistakes, about how she'd throw away everything to get me back, how Derek had meant nothing, how she'd been confused and stupid and sorry. I read the first paragraph, deleted the rest, and blocked her email address permanently. Derek Walsh fared even worse, which brings me immense satisfaction on cold nights when I remember their laughter in that hotel room. Fired the same day as Nicole. His wife Laura received my anonymous email with every photo, every video, every timestamp that documented her husband's betrayal. She filed for divorce immediately, armed with evidence so overwhelming that Derek's lawyers couldn't mount any defense. Laura got full custody of Emma and Jake. The house, the savings accounts, his retirement, everything. Derek moved into a one-bedroom apartment across town and gets supervised visitation with his children every other weekend. Court-mandated supervision because his own kids don't trust him anymore. Word spread through their industry about the married VP who got caught sleeping with his subordinate during company business trips. Derek's reputation became toxic. He couldn't find another executive position anywhere. Too much liability, too much scandal, too much risk for any company wanting to avoid workplace harassment lawsuits. Last I heard through LinkedIn, Derek was working in used car sales in Phoenix, Arizona. Broke, alone, and forgotten by the industry that once valued his expertise. Perfect justice for a man who destroyed his family for a few months of hotel room intimacy with my wife. As for me, I've thrived in ways I never expected. I kept the townhouse but made it completely mine. New furniture that reflects my taste, not compromise. New artwork that I chose without consultation. A home office where I can work in peace without wondering where my spouse really is. I got promoted to senior financial analyst at McKinsey & Associates, corner office. Substantial raise, recognition for the focus and dedication I'd poured into work during the divorce proceedings. My colleagues praised my professionalism during personal difficulties, not knowing that destroying my cheating wife's life had actually improved my concentration. I'm dating someone new, Rachel, a third-grade teacher I met through Cole and his wife at a summer barbecue. She's kind, genuine, uncomplicated by corporate ambitions or hidden agendas. We've been together 4 months now, taking it slow, building something real on honest foundations. Rachel asked about my past once, early in our relationship. I told her the simple truth. I was married. She cheated. I handled it and moved on. I'm glad you found your way out of that situation. You deserve someone who appreciates what you bring to a relationship, Rachel replied, squeezing my hand. No drama, no complications, just honest affection from someone who understands that trust, once broken, can never be fully repaired. This Saturday morning, I sit in my quiet living room with coffee and the newspaper, sunlight streaming through windows that overlook a neighborhood where I belong, where I've built something lasting and secure. The financial markets are performing well. My investment portfolio has recovered from the divorce expenses. My life is peaceful, organized, and entirely under my control. I raise my coffee mug in a solitary toast to the empty room. To new beginnings, I say aloud, and for the first time in over a year, Alex Cooper feels completely at peace with the world because I didn't just survive Nicole's betrayal. I didn't just recover from her deception. I won. I destroyed the woman who tried to destroy me, and I rebuilt my life stronger than it was before. Every choice she made in that Chicago hotel room led inevitably to this moment, me thriving in the home I earned, while she struggles in a life she chose through her own selfish actions. The perfect revenge isn't violence or dramatic confrontation. The perfect revenge is living well while your enemies suffer the consequences of their own choices, knowing they destroyed themselves and you simply documented the process. Nicole thought she was smart enough to have it all, the stable husband, the exciting affair, the corporate advancement, the secure future. She gambled everything on her ability to deceive and manipulate. She lost everything because she underestimated the man she betrayed, and I'm never making that mistake again.